Thank you. And in keeping with our theme, I wanted to have weird, wild, or wonderful training tips. I also realized that it's not going to be as easy to demonstrate some of them because they need a lot of motion. So bear with me. I will do my best to explain, and I will share three training tips with a brief explanation of where you can use them and how you can customize these. The first one is something that I learned from the American Management Association when I underwent certification back in 2005. And it it is usable in so many other situations in training, or not just training, during a gathering, any kind of event where you have people together and you want them to break out of their usual mindsets or paradigms, or also when you want them to see that they sometimes or oftentimes are limited by people are limited by their own perception of what is doable and what is not. So this is what, and I will try to demonstrate this. Anyway, our instructor, we were out in the open arena. Our instructor said to us, he drew a line on one side of the area, and then he drew another line about, I would say, 10, maybe 20 feet away. And he said, now I want you from here, from this first point, to move over to that second line. And of course, it was easy for us. So we all kind of moved over very quickly. And so we were on the other side. And then he said, now that you're there, I want you to come back. But this time, you cannot repeat the way that you moved over there. And so we were all looking at each other and like, how are we going to get to the other side if we cannot walk? And he looked at us and said, you're trainers. You're all very smart. Figure it out. So then somebody did a sprint. And I'm sorry. He said, you cannot repeat what the other person does, and you cannot, in other words, you have to do something else. So somebody did a sprint, and somebody kind of did like a hop, and somebody did like, like a twist. And it got more and more difficult the farther back, but we all made it back to the starting line. And so we thought, we're done. And he said, okay, now you need to get back to the other side. And again, do not repeat what anybody did. And we were like, what? But believe it or not, it actually got easier as it went. At a certain point, we were like flying, or we were swimming, or we were doing a golf swing, or we were doing a basketball throw. And I think he did it with us like 4 or 5 times. And we were not, the first time we were like, what? But on the fourth time, we were ready. As we were doing our moves, we were already anticipating the next one. And so he stopped and he said, did you all get the point? And we all said unanimously, yes. And the other thing which was amazing about it was we had all become energized. It was a wonderful, very quick technique that got all of our blood circulating. We were laughing, we were having fun, especially when somebody started doing like the slinky, slippery snake and all that. And you can use it. And I guarantee you, it will break up whatever program you're having. It's very quick. It's wonderful to use after lunch if you have an all day session, or at any point where you feel that you need a little bit of a break. Or, as I mentioned, if you want to show people that more often than not, the stumbling block is not out there, it's in our minds. So that's the first one. Now, before we go to the second, I need a quick drink. Sorry, that wasn't so quick, but I needed water. The second one I learned from Ken Blanchard years ago, when he, did a session, he had people people are all sitting down, and these were people who didn't know each other. So there was kind of, you know how it is, this wall, this invisible wall, because people don't know each other. And these were all experienced trainers, people who all had their self esteem and all that. And so nobody was reaching out. And so he asked everybody if they remembered to bring their wallets or their purses or whatever. And everybody said, yeah. And he said, well, okay, I want to make sure. Take it out, put it on the table. So everybody did. They put their purse. I put my fanny bag. I mean, we all put our little, and some had bigger bags. They're all on the table, and we were looking and wondering what's going on. We were all kind of outside our comfort zone. This was new. And then he said, okay, take out the contents of your wallet or your purse. And people started, some were like, I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, most people were not really that comfortable just taking out the contents. So what he did is he actually took out his own and he put it out. And he said, oh, look, see, I have this leaf. And he started showing all kinds of strange stuff. If you're like the usual person, your wallet or your purse will have all kinds of stuff that you might not even remember is in there. And so people started doing that. And he just left people for a while to look what was inside their purses or their wallets. And then he asked for volunteers to share an example of, or to share something and tell the rest about what was the meaning, why was this thing in their purse or their wallet, or to say, I don't know what this is and I don't know how it got here. And again, he led by showing an example. I think he had a little leaf, and he said this was a leaf that his granddaughter had given him. And it was kind of crinkled, and he was holding it very gently because he was afraid it might crumble up. And that just opened up people. So here you have people with high education and all that. They were just all sharing and laughing. And after that, it was easy to go on with the session. So that was the second one. The third one, this one is one of those things which you have to warn people not to do without adult supervision. No, it's not firecrackers. But anyway, these are lights and sound buzzers. I actually have 3 of them. I have another one that's answer buzzers. And this one is super loud buzzers. And the reason why I'm saying, I'm just kidding about adult supervision, but it's amazing how adults become children when they see this. And I actually, for this one, I've taken off the battery because it's really loud. So I don't want to accidentally trigger it. So the batteries are off. But these, I hope I don't wake people up. I hope it's not too loud. Which one is anyway, this one. Okay, that was, I chose the wrong one. It's a bit loud. But anyway, these buzzers, if you have a larger group, you can put one buzzer on each of the tables. And actually, you make sure they're already there before they come into the room. So when they come into the room, they start seeing those buzzers, and believe it or not, they cannot resist it. They'll start tapping it. So soon enough, you'll hear wow, 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 whatever the sounds are. So that's just nice to start the session. But then also, it makes people get rid of that hesitance or shyness to answer, because instead of raising their hand, if they want to answer, they just hit their buzzer. And you will be amazed at how quickly they hit their buzzers. And in fact, for fun, after lunch, I sometimes say, okay, we're going to have a buzzer contest when whoever can answer first. And it's just fun. It makes training fun. And it is actually very affordable. I ordered this from Trainer's Warehouse, one set of 4 when they're not on sale. I think it's about $25 or $30, and they last forever. Just make sure when you're traveling, you take off the batteries, because I forgot one time when I was checking into an I think I was in Portland Airport. I can't remember which airport, but the buzzer started going and they were giving me looks. So anyway, those are my three. There's so many other fun ways to liven up training, and you can customize them or adapt them to whatever sessions you're doing. I think that my time is up. I'm not seeing the timer, but I think my time is up. I'm not seeing it, but I have my own time. So back to you, Madame Toastmaster.